Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Tuesday, 10th day of October, year of our Lord 2017. Welcome to the John Moore Show. We're going to have open lines this first hour. We'll have Leon Green, hour two. We'll be talking about doTERRA essential oils and health-related matters and fun things like deuce and a half. Prepper tip of the day. With the events that happened a week ago Sunday in Las Vegas, I think it may be prudent, in case these legislators get carried away with a hysteria, to make sure that you got all the magazines, ammunition, and spare parts you need for your firearms. I've seen this before where an event like this will cause normally pro-gun legislators to get caught up in the hysteria and do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. So I want to encourage all of you, as your prepper tip of the day, to make sure you got a good stock of magazines, ammunition, and spare parts for the firearms that you want to make sure you have ready to go for many years into the future. Okay, we now have more images posted at my website at thelibertyman.com. Continents with new coastlines. First, we go to this year, 2017, the Smithsonian Channel, Aerial America. And it shows the center part of the United States underwater as they allege it was 100 million years ago. So that's that image. Next we go to a 20-year-old film, the film titled Contact. We're finding a bunch of images in this movie. This first one, we need to get that out of there. The second one here is a little bit better. There's going to be more images from Contact coming before the day is over. And I apologize for the quality of what we've got right now. At the moment, we have a map on a wall, which it's semi-dark, but you can see that the eastern part of the United States is underwater. The Gulf Coast and Florida are underwater. And then California is underwater. That is clear despite the poor quality of the image, but we're going to get some better quality images before the day is over from the same film. It's an interesting project. It's kind of funny how we go for 2-3 weeks with no new images, and then we get 2 or 3 new ones all at the same time. But if you watch movies, if you watch television shows, and you happen to come across an image of continents with new coastlines, do a screen capture, get that screen capture to me, and you get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs as a thank you. It's a fun project. If you got a question or comment, we'll take your calls here at Republic Broadcasting at 800-313-9443. The Las Vegas event continues to be in the news, as well it should be. Lots of speculation. I watched a couple of YouTube videos where the title was tantalizing and gave you the impression that there was going to be some new information when it turned out there was not, new evidence when there was not. The biggest new evidence at the moment is the security guard who was shot. He was responding to a door alarm, apparently on one of the emergency exits in a stairwell. And the shooter, Mr. Paddock, shot this guard 6 minutes before he began shooting. 6 minutes is a long time for first responders to be notified, especially in a major city like Las Vegas, to be notified that there's an incident going on, to respond and to get in place and do what needs to be done. 6 minutes is a real long time. Typical response time in a city like Las Vegas, you're looking at probably 3 minutes is what I would expect. So there's going to be some very serious questions asked about what was going on for those 6 minutes. Why did the police had plenty of notification, is what I'm trying to say. Police had plenty of notification that there was an active shooter in this hotel. They knew precisely where he was, and they went about the business of evacuating nearby rooms, which is a smart thing on one hand. On the other, once the shooting began, where he started shooting at the concert, they were already there on site. They were right there on site when the shooting began, and they allowed him to shoot for at least 10 minutes. There's some dispute about how long that shooting went on before the man committed suicide. It's a long 10 minutes. It's a long 6 minutes. We got a caller on hold here. We got Steve in Iowa. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. I'm your national match shooter. I'd like to bring to your attention some erroneous information from Mike Rivero regards to rifles and accuracy. Can I do that?
Please do, yes.
Okay, yesterday's program, I caught a short clip of it, and Mike was saying that to try to get accuracy out to 400 yards, you need a rifle like the Barrett. He did not specify caliber. This is wrong because I've got a 6.5 Swede in an M70 Winchester that's older than me, and I'm hitting 600-yard bullseyes 20 out of 20.
Right.
I was doing that with an AR-15, and last week he said the AR-15 was designed not to go more than 400 yards.
Right. Well, Mr. Rivero, Mike, I'm sure Mike means well, but he's not a gun guy. And of course I agree with what you're saying there, Steve. And when you're spraying what amounts to, even though these weren't machine guns, what amounts to full automatic fire in a area the size of a couple of football fields, 22,000 people, accuracy was really not a factor at all. He was basically firing what might be called into the entire group without singling out individual people.
Yeah, I tried calling him yesterday, and somehow they had some phone problems, and he had to drop a couple people that he was talking to before I got on, or tried to get on, rather. And evidently that was legitimate. Uncle Sam is still messing with you people, especially him. So
right.
If there's any
here's what Rivero probably did. He probably got on the internet, maybe went to Wikipedia and looked up AR-15 and was just parroting what he saw there. He's not a gun guy, and I'm sure he meant well, but he's not a gun guy and didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
This is true. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah, that cartridge, that caliber .223 Remington, was originally designed to shoot groundhogs at 300 to 400 yards. That's what it was meant for, and it's excellent for that. It's still illegal in many states, I don't know how many, to go deer hunting with that caliber because it really is inadequate for, even though it's legal in some states, I don't think it should be. When you talk outside your area of expertise, which Michael was doing, you can get yourself in trouble. Quoting sources that are not reliable. Wikipedia is well known to not be reliable in many areas. My friend Professor McCanny hammers on Wikipedia all the time. The sources for Wikipedia are the people that read Wikipedia. They're typically not reliable, verifiable sources. They're just people writing whatever they think is they want to write. So accuracy, getting back to the question, accuracy for Mr. Paddock was not an issue. Those AR-15s are perfectly capable of accuracy at that distance, 400 yards. It's well within their capability on one hand. On the other, the way these firearms have been modified with these bump stocks, he clearly wasn't seeking accuracy. He was trying to injure and murder as many people as quickly as possible. And that was an ideal venue to accomplish that goal. 22,000 people packed into an area that may have been maybe 2 football fields in size, maybe not even that big. Maybe not. I haven't seen the measurements of that size. Football field is obviously 100 yards long and about 33 yards wide, something like that. So yes, I'll apologize on behalf of Michael Rivera. You know, he thought he was doing the right thing, but he was talking outside his area of expertise and didn't get it right. Call number is 800-313-9443. We've had in other places, England and Australia come to mind, where there were mass shootings, and shortly thereafter, anti-gun legislation passed in England and Australia, which has led to more violent crime, by the way, not less violent crime. That's the track record of more restrictive firearms regulations, firearms laws, is more violent crime, not less. In fact, it's kind of ironic. It was in the 1890s, I believe, that the criminals in a part of New York City lobbied to have anti-gun legislation passed because the intended victims were defending themselves. So they successfully lobbied to make pistols difficult to get in New York City, and the lobbying effort was done by the criminals, if you can believe that. Very strange, but that's what they did, and they were successful. Of course, New York City, Chicago, Detroit, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Los Angeles are all places where they have fairly restrictive gun laws and have extremely high crime rates. That's no surprise to anybody who's looked into it. That's simply the way it is. You have your concealed carry permit? I was talking to my grandson. He turned his 21. Let's see, this is October, I believe, in less than 2 months. And I will be paying for his concealed carry training. I'll be paying for his concealed carry permit. I'll make sure that he has at least one pistol suitable for concealed carry. And so he can protect himself and his loved ones. He's a young adult and in college. Very responsible, very level-headed young man going to college with a football scholarship. That he's making good use of the football scholarship. He's going into construction management, and the whole family's very proud of him, and we should be, because he's worked very hard to achieve the goals that he's achieving. And the scholarship programs are part of Americana, where young men and young women can get athletic scholarships for any number of different athletic events, football only being one. There's basketball, baseball, track, swimming, others. And the concept of the scholar athlete is part of Americana, part of who we are, to encourage young men and young women to excel in both athletics and their scholarly pursuits. I was talking to the young man the other day, my grandson, about the road trips they got. They got a 16-hour bus trip coming up soon. And I said, him and his buddy, another football player, were pondering what they might be doing during those 16 hours other than sleep. And I said, well, here's a unique idea. You're college students, you could study. As it turns out, between these two young men, they have one book each. Everything is online. They can't even download the books into their laptops. They can only access them where they have Wi-Fi. I think that's not right myself. And in fact, most people, and I'm one of them, don't like reading a book on a backlit screen, which is what computers are. They have a backlit screen, which is why my Kindle, I will not get a Kindle Fire because it's a backlit screen, just like a computer. The regular Kindle does not have a backlit screen. It's very similar to ink on paper, and it doesn't make its own independent light. We got a caller on hold here. We got Paul in New Jersey. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, John. John, I wanted to present an argument about why guns save so many lives and have already saved, I would argue, hundreds of thousands of lives, if not millions of lives already.
Please.
And that is because guns stop communism. That's why. Every year in the United States, about 10,000 people are killed via homicide with the use of guns. I agree with that. That's about right. However, I would argue, if, let's say you take away gun rights, I'd say half of those people would still be killed by baseball bats, knives, or whatever, regardless of there being no guns. So let's say about 5,000 a year die because of guns. Now, let's pretend that we got rid of the guns, or don't add up those 5,000 a year, and multiply it by 200 years. That would add up to 1 million people, right? And my argument is, if the communists take over and get rid of the guns, after they take away the guns, they're going to get rid of people, and they'll get rid of more than 1 million people. And I argue that they will guaranteed, if these communists take over, and everyone who wants to disarm Americans, in my opinion, is either a communist or a communist sympathizer or a dupe to communism, and they don't know it. And so I believe we've already saved, if you look what happened in Russia, Soviet Union, what happened to the Russians by the Soviets, if you look at what happened in China or even in Cambodia, when the masses of people are unarmed, they become prey to communism. And the communists will move ethnic groups here and there and shuffle around with forced repatriation or forced relocation, what Stalin did, right? They'll take all of your property after you give up your guns. Then they can take whatever value they want from you of your personal property. And so what I'm advocating is we have to get this argument out there, the pro-gun rights. We always argue, it seems like whenever these events happen, over, assault weapons, and now it's the bump stock issue. We just have to rub it in their face and say, no, the anti-gunners are communists, and communists kill millions. And they're going to tell us that because of maybe a few extra 100 deaths a year because of gun rights, we have to give up our guns. And so that's the argument to bring this to, and rub communism and the mass murder of these totalitarians in the faces of these misguided leftists or these intentional gun grabbers. And that's my argument.
Well, it's an excellent argument. It won't have mass appeal because people are too ignorant to understand the argument, but it is an excellent argument, Paul.
Exactly. And as I said, also they get all worked up about gun deaths. And notice none of them really care about, or about police brutality, these leftists, and about the accidental shootings by police. And they are oblivious to the fact, let's say, that 4,000 people drown every year in the United States.
Paul, thank you. We're out of time. We got a break. Okay, we got a break. We got a caller on hold. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 10th of October. This evening, I'll be speaking at the Johnstown Senior Center, Johnstown, Colorado, 7 p.m., free and open to the public. Look forward to seeing a lot of you there. Before we get to our next caller, I had a conversation with one of my grandson's buddies, another football player, and we were talking about firearms, and he mentioned that his parents are anti-gun. So I asked the question, would your parents be willing to have a sign posted in their front yard that their home was gun-free? He says, no, of course not. I said, how about a sign posted next door with an arrow pointing to their home? The home next door is gun-free. And I run across this a lot. The anti-gun people don't want the criminals to know that they're unarmed. I find that as some kind of intellectual disconnect myself. A disconnect with reality. Reminds me of my own brother. He owns a shotgun, a 12-gauge single-barrel, single-shot shotgun that I gave him, probably 30 years ago, and he has a sticker on the front door and back door of his home saying "Protected by Smith & Wesson." There's no way that my brother is going to own a pistol, but he put the sticker up, and that's pretty common among anti-gun people. Is they don't want the criminals to know they're unarmed. They would prefer to leave some doubt in the criminal's mind as to whether that home has a firearm or not. Our next caller is Ty in Austin. Good morning, Ty. Take your phone off mute, Ty.
I'm not on mute, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. That's precisely why I will not put stickers of products, firearm products, mag and pull, these types of things, NRA stickers on my vehicle. I don't want anybody knowing where to get the guns if they're trying to find them. John, I have a quick question about our project that you've been working on, and we've worked on together some. How many images have you, ballpark, whether it be one or a dozen, have you been sent that you just couldn't quite get the image clear enough to be able to post on the
it hasn't been that many, Ty. There's been a couple. And, in fact, we got one posted right now from that Contact movie. We'll probably be taking it down because there's several similar images that are far better. So it's been a limited number.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I was just curious. This is going to be a little bit redundant, but I'll throw it out there. On Vegas, I'm pretty sure most people, understand that the official story is not correct. One of my big problems with it, besides feeling like I heard more than one rifle going off at the same time, is the round count. If it's just this one dude, how many people, 600, 500 people, sustained bullet wounds?
How many people? What was the question again?
What was okay, so 50-something people have died or succumbed to their injury.
Right.
And
right.
How many other hundreds suffered wounds from supposedly...
Last I heard 525. Those may all not be firearms related, because within that kind of hysteria, people would be falling down and breaking bones and things of that nature. But 525 is the number I've heard.
Well, in listening to the recordings, there's in my mind, and then we'll move on, a big discrepancy from the amount of rounds that were coming down into that crowd compared to the amount of people that were hit. In other words, I don't think if you gave me that many rounds, and I'm probably a better shot than that guy is, I'd have a hard time racking up a 500 count. So
right.
There's definitely more to the story going on there. Something I wanted to bring to folks' attention, if you want to spend a little bit of time getting some experience, visual experience, not you actually participating. Unfortunately, you're only going to get that from actually going to training, doing some force on force, but some visual experience. Check out Active Self-Protection on YouTube. I've watched dozens of this guy's videos and his breakdowns. I'm not a firearms instructor. I'm not ex-military, so I'm sure there's some things that he's saying or doing that people will disagree with, but all in all, he does a great job of bringing videos from around the world, including the United States, of folks protecting themselves. So that's a good thing to check out.
You want to hold on through the break, Ty?
I'd love to.
Okay, we have a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. I've worked with men and women involved in the high-end shelters for years. With the Ozark Survival Homesteads, you get things you don't get with the high-end shelters. You get a opportunity to be in the bunker, of course. You also get a home, a 60 by 90 lot. You get your storable food, your livestock share, your garden, greenhouse share, your seed bank share. One person to have everything they need, right at $25,000. For a family of three, $37,000. You really need to check this out. It's very unique. At my website, you'll see the Ozark Survival Homesteads on the left side of my homepage. Go there, read that one page, fill out the form with your name, your email address, and your telephone number, and I will forward that to the guys and gals at the Ozark Survival Homesteads. Check it out. You'll be very glad you did. Thank you very much. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 10th day of October. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. Our project of finding images of coastlines, continents with new coastlines, I should say, on TV shows and movies continues to move forward. Got a couple of new ones posted. We're going to get a couple more posted before the end of the day, hopefully. It's fascinating. A lot of fun. You can be part of it. All you got to do is do what you do anyway. Watch movies and TV shows. Get a screen capture. You see a continent with a new coastline. Get that to me. We still need a crystal clear, sharp image from NCIS. Haven't got one yet. The ones we have are a bit fuzzy. If you find an image, get that to me. You get your choice to my 5 DVDs as a thank you. Also, my website are energy cleaners for sale. Marvelous healing devices. That's what they are. Marvelous healing devices. Only $285 shipping included. We focus on arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, all those things. Not getting a great night's sleep, it'll probably help there too. Keep in mind I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, and I use my energy cleaner every night. I'm on a road trip, I use my energy cleaner, and I can knock out 10 or 12 hours and not be dog-dead tired. It's just an amazing device. Over-the-road truckers love their energy cleaners. You can get the details at my website at thelibertyman.com. You can place your order right there using PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. Keep in mind, PayPal is the most secure way to make any payment online. And, of course, they now take payments if you reside inside the United States. You need to send me a check. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. And I have a toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I'd say again, 800-592-9543. Okay, we were talking before the break with Ty and Austin. Let's continue with your comments there, Ty.
Sure, John. Thank you. A couple quick comments, but first, a sincere thank you over the air. Thank you, sir, for the energy cleaner. It has changed my life. I cannot believe the amount of physical labor and work and exercise that I can perform at 40, almost 4 now, and I'm recovered within 2 days. It used to take me a week to get back completely to 100% after putting in a long, hard day, so I just want to thank you for that. The comments that I have left to make are twofold. One, a good buddy of mine, gun guy, called me and he said, Ty, I don't know who else to call. I wanted your perspective. This was last week. He said, should I buy a bump stock? And I said, Chris, no. You should buy another dozen quality magazines for your rifles and go buy some training and continue to learn how to use them and operate those. So that was my take on the bump stock. And then lastly, I think it was Paul. And if I'm messing up the name, I apologize. But one of the gentlemen called in and said he's a long-range match shooter and was correcting Michael Rivero. I love RBN. There's lots of different opinions and information to be found on all the different stations, but there's one thing, in addition to guns, that Michael Rivero does not know what he's talking about, and that is geoengineering and chemtrails. So, folks, enjoy what you can from the people that are offering you the information that they have at hand, but be discerning and understand that there's nobody out there that holds the chalice of truth to everything. So, all right, John, have a great rest of your week, and I appreciate you giving me some time.
Thank you for the call, Ty. The call number is 800-313-9443. The nature of talk radio at its best is the audience learns from the host learns from the audience, we all learn from each other. And Ty is absolutely true. No single individual has all knowledge. Somebody like myself, I don't claim to have all knowledge. I do claim to have access to most knowledge most of the time, but I don't claim to have the knowledge. And it's just sitting in my brain waiting to be extracted at a moment's notice. And I know the difference between make-believe fantasy research and real research. And I was a journalism major in college initially, later got my degree as a paralegal, and both of which I learned what true research is. And, of course, as an intelligence analyst, I spent my days 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, gathering evidence and intelligence on behalf of the U.S. Army intelligence. So, yes, I know what real intelligence is, what real information is from verifiable sources. Now, I have to admit I have not reviewed these audio forensics that have been done in Las Vegas. What I'll be looking for is the identity of the person or persons who did it, the modality of how they performed their analysis, what kind of equipment they used, hopefully a summary of their expertise in using this equipment, because this is doing a kind of audio analysis is something of a very esoteric nature, requiring skills and equipment both. The equipment would be the type of equipment that could give very precise, down to microseconds, analysis of these reports, this gunfire, and then the knowledge of how to properly analyze that information. It's a very highly specialized area of forensics. So, like I say, I have not looked into it to make that determination to my own satisfaction as to who did it, what their equipment was, what their expertise was, how they did their analysis, and so forth. And these people, unless they identify themselves, and the forensics has to be repeatable. The forensics investigation on the audio from this event in Las Vegas, it needs to be repeatable by men or women who have the same kind of equipment, the same kind of expertise. That's where the rubber meets the road, in my opinion. The call number is 800-313-9443. I am a bit concerned. We have a very pro-gun U.S. Congress, very pro-gun U.S. Senate on one hand. On the other, these state legislators, we have 50 state legislatures. Not all of them are pro-gun, obviously. Some of the worst are California, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland. There's probably some others, I'm sure. Illinois is one. They're more easily swayed to do the wrong thing. And Ty, I need to compliment you for giving your friend the right advice not to buy a bump stock. I've been aware of bump stocks since they first came out, since I'm in the gun culture, and I have 3 different firearms publications, ink on paper, coming to my home every month, sometimes 3 times a month in the case of one of them, and of course my online subscriptions as well. And it's basically a novelty, is how most experienced shooters would regard a bump stock as a novelty. something that typically you would see teenage boys or young men in their 20s would get a bump stock in order to have fun on a Saturday afternoon with no chance of, or I should say limited chance of hitting a target, but having fun, wasting a lot of ammunition, which when it comes to centerfire ammunition, it gets real expensive real quick. You can easily spend $1 a round for .223 ammunition or more. So $20 would be expended in about 4 or 5 seconds. That's an expensive way to eat up ammunition and needlessly expend ammunition for no good purpose other than having fun. There's a certain purpose, a worthwhile purpose for having fun. The novelty of simulating full automatic fire, but that's about all it is. I know a lot of people in the gun culture, and none of them that I know own or would care to own a bump stock. Even if one was given to them, they would probably just sell it or give it away. If somebody gave me a bump stock, I would sell it or give it away. I have no desire to own a bump stock. There's other devices, trigger devices, that accomplish the same thing. And as I mentioned a couple of times on the show already, a common shoestring on some semi-automatics rifles can be used to accomplish the same goal. In fact, I'm doing my presentation tonight. I might just bring a shoestring with me and I won't do a demonstration, but I will describe how a shoestring could be used to give that same effect. We got a caller on hold here. We got Ted in Honolulu. Good morning, Ted.
Hey, John. Good morning. Aloha from the beautiful Hawaii. It's early morning out here, but I wanted to listen to your show and had a comment to make, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a retired airline pilot. I'm a gun owner. I'm born in Texas, so I have the gun background, but I'm a son of a mother from Greece, and my mother lived through World War II on the island of Crete. Her father was an Army officer, and she was there when the Nazis invaded Crete in 1941.
Right.
And they had confiscated all the guns, and that's my point.
The
Greek government took...
The Greek government, okay, before the Nazis got there, the Greek government confiscated the firearms.
Yes, they did. But the Cretans are something quite different mentality. They're fighters. They're a lot like the Sicilians. They're very tough individuals. So they didn't turn in their guns. They hid their guns. They buried their guns. And then when the Nazis invaded in May 1941, was the largest airborne invasion of history. 10,000 Nazi paratroopers invaded Crete. The Cretans went and dug up their guns, and they fought. They fought fiercely. They fought to the death. They almost defeated the Nazis. Unfortunately, they didn't. But my point is, they didn't turn in their guns. And I think we need to be wise, be ready to hide our guns if we have to, because as you mentioned, there's a lot of people want to take them away, and it won't be good, the result.
Were you still flying as a pilot after September 11th, 2001?
I'm glad you asked that. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I was actually in New York. I was in New York City the night of September 10th, and I left on the last flight. It turned out to be to Athens, Greece, to visit my mother.
Okay. The reason I asked, the fall of 2001, I was one of the behind-the-scene advisors to the pilots union to help them get the legislation drafted to get authority for the pilots to carry pistols. Did you take advantage of that yourself, sir?
No, I never did. I didn't feel like I really wanted to do that at that time. But I would like to make just a mention of what, 9/11, what I saw. And
Please.
I saw Judy Woodruff, I think, did a special show with Donald Rumsfeld a year or so ago, interviewing him. And in his office, he picked up this piece, looked like an ashtray. And she said, "What's that?" He said, "This is a piece of the airplane that hit the Pentagon." He said, "I went out and picked this up from the ground."
Right.
And I had to laugh because that's a federal crime to steal evidence from an air crash.
From a crime scene.
Right. I also want, why would he want a souvenir of that? And I think the whole point is it was just a ruse to give legitimacy that an airplane actually hit the Pentagon. I don't believe it was an airplane.
Right. Well, I agree with you. Allegedly, I say allegedly because, to the best of my knowledge, on September 11, 2001, the technology did not allow people to make cell phone calls from commercial airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of that?
Well, I know there was a big, they still try to block people doing that, but I really don't know. But all I can say is there was some kind of a deception pulled on the whole world on 9/11. We don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know, but it's not true. I mean, I do not believe the story.
Well,
and I don't believe the
story.
I don't believe
you have to rewrite all the books on physics in order for that to be true.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So just one comment also on the Vegas shooting. I have a pilot friend who was there, who actually ended up helping the injured to the hospital. I haven't got to talk to him yet. I hope I can ask him what his eyewitness feeling was. But all I can say is if you look at who benefited from this whole thing, really it was CNN. It boosted their ratings tremendously, and also MSNBC. And it seems like regularly these things happen, and they love it. It's a media circus. It's like having a Super Bowl every week.
Right.
And so one has to wonder, are these accidental or are these staged? Or is Simon Cowell's producing these on a regular basis for the public consumption?
So I don't
buy
believe
the narrative.
I don't believe a television network would be complicit in a tragedy of this kind. But clear on one hand, on the other, of course, they're going to take advantage of it. TV is ideally suited to cover this kind of tragedy, and that's what they do.
Well, it seems we have created a bloodlust that people enjoy watching this, I'm sorry to say. So I don't know where this is going, but it seems the hurricanes go regularly, the tragedies go regularly, and they're increasing in frequency and in the amount of carnage. So there's something behind it, I believe. And
okay,
anyway,
well,
I love your show.
Thank you, Don. And Ted, if you get a report from your friend that we need to hear about, get that to us, okay?
Yes, sir, I sure will.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ted, thank you for the call.
Aloha.
Aloha, sir. 800-313-9443 is our call-in number. And we have a break. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 10th of October. Call number is 800-313-9443. Before we get to the next caller, there was an article written by Thomas Sowell in the last few days about West Philadelphia. The kind of article that a white man could never write and publish publicly. but I think it's worth reading. And we do have our regular caller from Philadelphia, Glenn from Philadelphia. Good morning, Glenn.
Hello, John. Good morning. I'm afraid I did not see that article, so I'm not sure what that's about.
Well, if you know West Philadelphia and you know Thomas so well, you don't have to guess much. So, basically, to summarize it, we as a society, we have destroyed incentive for poor, dumb whites and most African Americans to get married and be productive, and provide incentives for poor, dumb whites and African Americans to not get married and not be productive. That's a very quick thumbnail sketch of what he's talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, West Philly is an interesting mix of things like universities and the projects and a very high crime area out past the train station area. Yeah. I just called in this morning to make a quick comment about the California legislation that made it change the status of the crime of deliberately infecting someone with HIV from a felony to a misdemeanor. Now, I don't know if you've covered this or not, and they've also
I'm aware of it. But go ahead, Glenn. Yeah, go ahead.
Allowable for HIV-infected people to donate blood, and I guess presumably, the infection would be caught in the screening of the blood. I don't know. That's just silly. But one thing I haven't heard anybody mention the follow the money aspect of this legislation, of changing it from a felony to a misdemeanor, because the state, each time if someone is convicted of a felony and imprisoned, for transmitting HIV, the state then has to bear all of the medical treatment costs for that new inmate who has HIV. So I would suggest that it's possible there's, as one variable, there's a financial incentive for the state not to incarcerate people with HIV because they have to take care of them medically. So who benefits from this and follow the money? Well, the state benefits by not having to spend money on caring for more HIV-infected inmates.
Which begs the question, Glenn, are there sufficient numbers of people committing this crime of intentionally infecting people that this would be that would be worthwhile to have this kind of legislation? That's pretty scary in and of itself. The numbers are that great.
Yes, exactly. We don't hear as much about HIV as we used to, but it's still out there. And then there's the twisted psychology behind deliberately seek to become infected. They call them bug chasers, or the people they use the term gift giving for people infecting people. This is truly twisted and pathological thinking, and I don't see why. I mean, this begs the question of how many people might become, infected as a result of this and have their lives, greatly shortened. I mean, it's
absolutely. Glenn, thank you for the call.
John,
we're out of time. Should top of the hour break. We'll be back with Leon Green. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Moore here, our second hour on Tuesday, the 10th of October. Purple tip of the day. I have more than a little concern that some of these state legislatures, following the tragedy in Las Vegas last week, will attempt to pass some anti-gun measures. Bump stocks, of course, are high on the list, which is a big zero as far as I'm concerned. But magazine capacity, firearms, semi-automatic rifles, ammunition themselves, I can see tighter regulations at the state level. Highly, much more unlikely, I should say, at the federal level, but I expect to see some anti-gun legislation at the state level. So the proper tip of the day is to make sure you stock up on whatever firearms, magazines, ammunition, spare parts that you think you might need for the next, 50 years. That's your proper tip of the day. We have patient waiting Green and my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who's taken the time, made the effort to become very knowledgeable of all the many ways that incorporating doTERRA essential oils into your daily life can help you have the fun, full, productive life that everybody should have. Good morning, Leon.
Good morning, John. How are you doing? I'm actually in Vegas now. I'm just about to do some training today.
Outstanding. Well, there's a lot of excellent firearms training not far from Las Vegas, and I'm sure there'll be some water cooler chatter at the facility, wherever you might be, about what happened a week ago Sunday.
Yes, sir. Except for today, I'm doing something special. I'm actually doing the driving. I've never done the driving at all. So I'm doing the evasive driving and J-turns, U-turns, so I'm excited about that.
Well, good. I've set up courses as an instructor to instruct people for evasive driving and tactics, and it's a lot of fun to get out there and do that. And, well, enjoy yourself. That'll be a lot of fun for you there, Leon. I was listening to some audio tapes of a very well-known chiropractor. He's now deceased, Dr. Ted Morter, over the last couple of days, and getting some refresher on what really goes on with the human body and how we are basically energy. We are pure energy is what we are. And the essential oils help people to reconnect with what they truly are, which is pure energy, and assist in the healing process and the health process. That's what essential oils do, don't they, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, of all the oils in the world, rose has the highest frequency, period. And then when you look at of any plant in the world, rose oil has the highest. And then if you think of clove, that has the highest antioxidant value of anything on the planet, over 2 million ORAC value. The next lower one is cinnamon, and then it really drops off. And people say, well, I take broccoli and berries and mangosteen, and those things are only like 40,000. There's a huge difference between 400,000 in cinnamon and 2.2 million in clove oil. So it's monumental to see how powerful these oils are.
They are extremely powerful, and there's no prescription involved. Human beings have been using these for more than 2,000 years. We don't know how many thousand years, but we have detailed records going back more than 2,000 years since they were found in King Tut's tomb, for example. And, of course, they were used because they work. This is not hocus pocus or witchcraft. This is real science backed up by real scientific investigation, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, for people who are doubting conscious, go to PubMed.org, and you can see there's over 40,000 studies on essential oils. And I've even typed in frankincense, essential oil, and cancer, and there's over 100 right there. So for people who want to see the science, and I get it a lot more from men, which is good. They want to be analytical and make sure this is not foo-foo and snake oil and voodoo science. No, there's tons. I mean, Johns Hopkins, Harvard, MIT has done studies on it. So it's for people who want the analytical, we can supply ample amounts of that.
Absolutely. Well, that's a left brain, right brain thing, and that's expected. Is that the men are going to be analytical and the women are going to work more from their intuition and their emotions, and that's what makes men and women compatible. Is those two opposite effects. Something I found out, Leon, there's been a couple of weeks we gave out my doTERRA website address. I found out that that's a huge mistake. I tried it on 2 different computers, and you don't go to my doTERRA website link. You end up with my radio show and other things you really don't want to be at. So we're not going to do that anymore. We're just going to continue having people send me an email, and then I will send them my doTERRA website link by return email. That's what works. That's what's effective. Giving out the website link on the radio turns out to not be effective and not get people to my doTERRA website link, unfortunately.
That's kind of strange. We'll have to find out of it because, when you type, if you're giving it out over the phone or over the radio or even via email, then the site should be the same. So somehow the site
you're being redirected. Even though you're in the browser, you're being redirected by the search engine connected to that browser is what's happening. It's easily corrected, and we just continue doing what we've been doing now for a couple of years, and that's to give out my email address, which is thelibertyman@AOL.com. Pretty simple, thelibertyman@AOL.com. Send me an email asking for my doTERRA website link, and I'll send that back by return email, and then we know for a fact that you'll get it. And, of course, the other part to getting the knowledge you need is getting two different issues of the same book, two different editions, I should say. The book titled Modern Essentials. The 9th edition just came out last month, September 2017, and the 5th edition had been out for a number of years. People would be well advised to get both, wouldn't they, Leon?
Yes, sir, but if they could only afford one right now, I would say get the 5th. And if you can find it, it's getting more and more rare because it's going to eventually be, like a 1914 Mercedes. You won't be able to find them. So, grab whichever one you can and then get a kit, because when you have a kit, you can start using oils immediately. So it's just like what you talked about. Get as many, get the firearms you want, and I jokingly laughed at it, for the next 50 years because you're thinking everything's going to go away, but the books will not be that difficult to get a hold of. But, get the book first, then get the kit, and then you're on the skids now of how to use them. And then you just open up the book and apply them. You can do them topically. You can drink them. With doTERRA, specifically, I'm going to make that disclaimer because many people think, they've learned from John and Leon, and we can just go to Wally World and buy their version of frankincense, which is pretty much gasoline with a pretty smell, because it has no therapeutic benefits there when you buy it for 99 cents. That is like getting a piece of candy, or peppermint candy. It is imperative where you get your oils, because they do have an impact on your body. And if you don't get it pure oil, what happens is any of the surrounding chemicals, benzene, toluene, Roundup, glyphosate, all the nasties that we've generated here in the States and worldwide will be concentrated in your oils. And so instead of getting benefits, you'll be taking toxins that are concentrated. So it's imperative where you get the oils. Exactly.
It is imperative. I work with a number of doctors who use doTERRA essential oils, Leon, and these are very bright men and women who have, typically 7 to 8 years education past high school. And if they could find essential oils that were just as effective for less money, they would do it, but they can't. They need, for themselves, their family, their clients and patients, they need the purest, most effective, most concentrated essential oils, which is why they chose doTERRA. These discount store essential oils, they're not the real deal. And the professionals I work with want nothing to do with them, do they, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at with the doctors who've associated and worked with doTERRA, we have two Harvard surgeons and one Harvard and MIT surgeon that uses the oils in their practices. So they use them pre and post op. When they're doing dental surgery, when the mouth is in car accidents where the jaws are completely demolished, they have to go back in and reconstruct it, and they have to put in titanium plates and things like that. And they are using the oils to prevent infection. And the mouth is the dirtiest orifice in the entire body. Because of that, if you have to deaden pain and you have to eliminate pathogens, you want to do it quickly, because all that time it's wasting is cells are dying. You have cell death, so it's imperative that they do it as fast as possible, so they can irrigate, use saline with the oil mix, and they can actually irrigate that whole section very quickly before they start doing reconstruction. So these doctors who have gone to Harvard, who've got all the plaques and the sheepskin, they realize, wow, these are effective, they're faster, they're cheaper, there's no side effects, it doesn't interact with the anesthesia that they're being given. So to them, it's a very effective way. And then there's another doctor who's a orthopedic surgeon, and so he's working on blown-out knees and professional sports athletes and ACL repair and things like that. And he's using the oils before to calm them down before the surgery, and then after to prevent infection, like MRSA and CRE and VE and VRE. And so all these pathogens are impacted, and even the emotions are impacted by the essential oils before and after surgery.
Right. And we're talking about both ends of the physical spectrum here. At one end would be my grandson who turns 21. He's playing football on a college scholarship, and so he's a high-end performing athlete. At the other end would be older men and women who may have some chronic conditions they're dealing with. And something we talk about, and this is radio, we always have new listeners, Leon. Most people over age 50 in the United States have 3 or more pharmaceutical prescriptions at any given moment, and sometimes many more. During a long-term crisis, access to those pharmaceutical products will be cut off. So the smart thing to do would be to figure out, using the book Modern Essentials, figure out which oils could be substituted, and incrementally, one at a time, start substituting essential oils for these harmful, dangerous, expensive, hard to get during a crisis, impossible to get during a crisis, pharmaceutical product. That would be the smart thing to do, wouldn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, think about this right now. Puerto Rico's without electricity for several months now. They're predicting that. They have their infrastructure is dead now. Because of that, imagine that, and that's only from a hurricane. Imagine a nationwide economic issue. And post office, UPS, FedEx is not working. Any drugs you require to have a quality of life based on chemicals is going to be directly impacted. If it changes, if you need it for life, then you'll live as long as that drug exists that you have access to. And after that, whether it's insulin or whatever, it will expire. And so, I see the people with little electrical scooters. They're going to be stuck wherever they are once they run out of power, just like what was happening in Puerto Rico. I'm not talking about EMP. Once all their juice, their solar and everything's dead, then if they don't have a way to recuperate, then they're going to be stuck right where they are. And
all right.
I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that.
A couple of helpful hints. Let's segue here back to your training today. Would you be using your own vehicle or the school's vehicles?
Oh, I'm going to be using school's vehicles for sure.
Okay.
Because mine is too top heavy, and I realize.
If the vehicle has steel-belted radials, you want to overinflate the tires, if they allow it, to about 50 pounds. That will help the tires perform better. Another thing, this is for everybody who wants to do a little bit better in the driving. When it comes time to, if they have a standard seatbelt as opposed to a competition seatbelt, before you latch the buckle into the receiving mechanism, twist the buckle twice before you stick it in there. That will keep the seatbelt from sliding through the buckle, and make sure it's good and tight. You want to be held firmly in the seat, because when you start doing these maneuvers, the centrifugal force is going to want to throw you from side to side, Leon. But if it's standard seatbelt, not a competition 4-point or 5-point seatbelt, you turn that buckle twice before you click it, and that will lock that seatbelt in whatever position you've got it. It won't slip and slide anymore.
Well, I appreciate it. I would definitely use that. And yes, I have my vehicle is, it's high and raised, and so it can off-road and go through fences. So I have that, but I'm going to have to ask them, what would you do in my regard about doing these kind of turns? So I'm going to try direct application plus. And
I would have the seat maybe just an inch or two closer to the steering wheel than you normally would. You're going to have a bit more leverage on that steering wheel than you would if you got the steering wheel out. I know myself, for typical highway driving, I have that seat pretty far back as a matter of comfort. But if you're doing these kind of maneuvers, you're going to want the seat a little bit closer so you have more leverage to manipulate that steering wheel. And if you're going at low speed, you're probably going to want to keep it in drive 1 or drive 2 to have more acceleration more quickly.
Yes, sir. Well, there's 23 people, and I think there's 18 cars. So, yes, they're going to be doing a lot of. It's 2 days. Today's the no contact. Tomorrow we're impacting cars.
Are you out there? Are you at Bondurant?
No, sir. We're actually at Las Vegas Speedway, where they have the NASCAR.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be a lot of fun, and they set it up so you can't possibly hurt yourself, but you'll think you could. So that's my hat's off to you. That's going to be some great training. Yeah. Well, getting back to the oils, I generally find women are more interested in the oils, at least initially, than the men. Has that been your observation, Leon?
Yes, sir. And I'd probably say when I go to the conferences, it's probably, I think about 85% women. Even by being close to it's even higher than that. But once the men realize how powerful they are and how you can use them in preparedness, I mean, think about it. You, as a prepper, you want to have something that you can use for multiple uses, that doesn't have a shelf life, that is not expensive, that is not going to be detrimental to your mission. And doTERRA meets that, the oils meet that criteria specifically because you can bury them. You can, and I've even jokingly said in some of my articles that I've written in that you can actually use oil if you had to in emergency, if you had to use some for lubrication. I wouldn't waste the oils. I wouldn't waste the
I wouldn't.
on a bolt. Right.
No.
But I just jokingly said, look, for people who weren't prepared, who didn't have, lubricating oil on the range, yes, you could use Balance because it has coconut flax oil.
No, that would be a shame to do that, but you do what you got to do. We got a break. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the intershelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The intershelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. Thank you. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 10th of October. A quick reminder, this evening I'll be speaking at the Johnstown Senior Center, Johnstown, Colorado. That's at 7 p.m. I look forward to seeing a lot of you there. It will be free and open to the public. It'll be a fun evening. We're visiting with Mr. Leon Green. We're talking about doTERRA essential oils. If you need a private consultation with Leon, don't call him this morning. He's busy taking his anti-terrorism driving lessons. But his office telephone number, mountain time, is 303-495-2188. Call him up later today. He'll be done having his fun, zooming around the racetrack there at Las Vegas, and can set up a consultation for you. Leon, I'm jealous. I would dearly love to be there as one of your co-students.
Well, come on down, sir. Except it sounds like you're having fun in Johnstown.
Well, I am having fun. I'm at a point in my life where I can do some fun things. I started my training doing pursuit driving in 1973. My instructor, an older gentleman, he at the time, you may recall, the TV show Rockford was on. And Rockford drove a Camaro, and my instructor drove the exact same Camaro, the exact same color. So I'm 24 years old, and I'm riding along, learning the tricks of the trade to do pursuit driving and surveillance. And I'm thinking to myself, this is really neat. I'm riding around town with Rockford. But I did learn a lot, and I got to the point where I became an instructor myself to do pursuit driving and surveillance. And they're unique skills, and it does take some courage to go sideways through a busy intersection against the red light with oncoming traffic. But that's one of the things we learned to do.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, I'm excited about that because I heard about the and I heard about the skills that are required for because they're going to be doing everything from having cars turn sideways and actually defeating them just like the police do. And so those skills, everybody has to. Everybody says I only need to shoot, but everybody drives pretty much daily. And if you don't have these skills, you're competing against people that are in the same boat as you. So you want to beef up your game so you're much better, and you can compete, and more importantly, you can survive, because that's the most important, especially when things go south.
Well, if people listening to us, several thousand people listening to us, and they were thinking, well, what can I do? There's an inexpensive way to improve your driving skills, and that's SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, SCCA sanctioned solo racing. We can show up with anything that's legal to drive on the street, or even a race car as far as that goes. And the course is laid out typically on a large asphalt or concrete parking lot with rubber paint pylons, and you drive one car at a time against the clock, getting a penalty for each paint pylon you knock over, and you're competing against cars in your own class. So a 302 Mustang would be competing against the other 302 Mustangs, just as one example. You'll be around people who do this a lot and have been doing it for maybe 20, 30, or even longer years, and you'll learn about modifications and upgrades to your vehicle that you can do that would help improve the performance, such as stiffer shocks, anti-roll bars, different tires, bigger tires, wider tires, things of that nature that would improve the performance of a car in daily driving and daily traffic, which I've done that on several vehicles, and it's a fun thing to do, not terribly expensive, but it does improve the safety of the vehicle also, doesn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir. I got to get some roll bars for my deuce and a half.
I would not want to be in a deuce and a half. They don't have seat belts. I would not want to be in a deuce and a half rolling over. But I have been in one. I have been in one that's been driven faster than I probably should have. It's pretty. You get the windshield down. You're about 8 feet up in the air there, and you got a 4-speed transmission, and it's about as far from a sports car as you can get, but it is a 4-speed with a bucket seat and the windshield down, and it's a hoot to drive one, especially if you think people might be shooting at you.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.
Do we have a break? I thought I heard music. There's our music. We got a break. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. I've worked with men and women involved in the high-end shelters for years. With the Ozark Survival Homesteads, you get things you don't get with the high-end shelters. You get a opportunity to be in the bunker, of course. You also get a home, a 60 by 90 lot. You get your storable food, your livestock share, your garden, greenhouse share, your seed bank share. One person to have everything they need, right at $25,000. For a family of 3, $37,000. You really need to check this out. It's very unique. At my website, you'll see the Ozark Survival Homesteads on the left side of my homepage. Go there, read that one page, fill out the form with your name, your email address, and your telephone number, and I will forward that to the guys and gals at the Ozark Survival Homesteads. Check it out. You'll be very glad you did. Thank you very much. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 10th of October. Quick reminder, I'll be speaking this evening at 7 p.m. at the Johnstown Senior Center, Johnstown, Colorado. 7 p.m., free and open to the public. Look forward to seeing a lot of you there. My website is thelibertyman.com. We have new images and more to come in the next day or two. Images of continents with new coastlines on television shows and movies. This movie, Contact, is turned out to be a wealth of these images. We're going to end up with 3 or 4 out of it before it's over. Several of them are nice and crystal clear and sharp. If you want to participate, just do what you do anyway. Watch movies, watch television shows. When you find an image of a continent with new coastlines, get a screen capture, get that screen capture to me, and you get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs as a thank you. Also, the energy cleaner. We are, in fact, us human beings, we're energetic energy beings is what we are. The energy cleaner goes to every cell in your body with an electrostatic signal, flushing out toxins, bringing in fresh nutrition. That's how it mitigates pain. It could be back pain, arthritis pain, joint pain. It doesn't matter. It will mitigate the pain. Not getting a great night's sleep, it will help you get a night's sleep because it's helping you heal, is what it's doing. I use mine every night, and I have for years, and I get up in the morning feeling great after a wonderful, solid, good night's sleep. Only $285 shipping included. Keep in mind, I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you're risking nothing when you get your energy cleaner. Check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads. I'm shipping one to our friend Diane Zerger when I get back. Diane was on my show every Thursday for several years. Her goal was to save the world one energy cleaner at a time. I believe Diane has bought about 12 or 13 energy cleaners at this point in time. And I've been at this so long, I'm now selling our people the 3rd and 4th, even 5th energy cleaners. You can place your order right there at my website at thelibertyman.com using PayPal, the most secure way to make any payment online, MasterCard, Visa. Checks can be sent to my address at thelibertyman.com. My toll-free hour line, 24 hours a day, here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We're visiting with Leon Green, who is about to strap himself into a modified automobile and go sideways on the racetrack. And we're talking about doTERRA essential oils and other things like deuce and a halves with a windshield down and race cars and pursuit driving and all these fun things. If you got a question or comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. How long does the class last today, Leon?
10 hours tomorrow. Tomorrow's contact.
You were cut off. How many hours today?
8 hours.
8 today and 10 tomorrow. 18 hours of training. That's a lot. That's a lot. And a lot of it's going to be on the track as opposed to theoretical instruction in a classroom. And that's where it's a worn-out phrase, but where the rubber meets the road is where you find out your limits and the vehicle limits. And that's what you'll be finding out is Leon will find out his limits and find out the vehicle limits, won't you, Leon?
I'm going to push him. I'm grabbing my knee pads and elbow pads, and I don't see any helmets, but I'm going to be doing as much as possible. I don't know. We'll see if the car flips, but if that's the case, it's a different story. But they do have the outriggers, from what I understand.
Okay. Well, all right. It's hard to flip one of these modern cars, depending on what car it is and how it's set up in the center of gravity and the track and so forth. But I guess it is possible. We're talking to my wife and I were talking to my sister-in-law a couple of days ago about the essential oils and working to get her started on the essential oils. And I mentioned to her that getting a kit would be the most cost-effective way to get started and to get the biggest kit that she could afford in order to get the most oils at the best price. And that's a pretty accurate statement, isn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir. That is correct. That's because the fact that you actually get it below the 25% when you buy the initial enrollment kit. You're getting it below 25%, and it also includes the enrollment. And the normal enrollment fee for a brand new person is $35. But when you get a kit, you get that, and $35 is already included, so that's already set. All
right. The kits are the most cost-effective way to get started. These kits were put together by professionals who understand how the oils work, why they work, and which oils to get started with in the most effective way possible. Right, Leon?
Absolutely. So, say there's the Home Essentials kit. It has the 10 oils and a diffuser. The next one up on that is the Natural Solutions kit, and that has 16 oils, a diffuser, and many other things. So it has the Deep Blue Rub. It has the On Guard toothpaste, which doesn't have fluoride in it. And then there's every oil kit that has everything we have in the oil section. So whichever one, the kit I got was a Natural Solutions kit, and I added on anything else specific that I needed. But since then, I've gotten every oil. We have over 85 oils. So
right. Well,
you're
right. Right.
Right.
Well, you're right. If the budget allows, the every oil kit is the way to go in terms of, obviously, you get everything there is, and you get the biggest discount, right, Leon?
Absolutely. And so I personally tell you, get the most you can afford and do not go in debt. So get the biggest kit you can afford. And you also get, if you start on the Loyalty Rewards program, the next month on the Natural Solutions kit, they give you $100 worth of free oil. So if you want to get that kit, you get a substantial discount. And so if you put an order this next month of at least $100, they will give you an additional $100 worth of free oil. So that was a great way to jumpstart it. Then every oil kit, the next month, if you put an order of at least $100, they give you $200 worth of free oil. So it really depends on where your budget is. But get the kit, because then you have the most selection. And all of them will have certain oils, but the Natural Solutions has the most diversity, and that one's only $550, and it's shipping and handling, and that is typically $3.99. So I always have people do short post, which is the cheapest way, and whatever your taxes. And if you have more than one property, I say whatever has the best tax rate, send it there. So I've had people send it into the business, into their city, and other times they've had it sent out into the country where there's no municipal taxes. So whatever the case is, find the cheapest way to do it. Exactly.
That is the thing to do. I've been thinking about what you're doing. That Toyota you drive, is that an SUV or a pickup? I forgot.
No, it's an SUV.
Okay. Here's some homework assignment for you. And everybody who's interested in their vehicle performing better. First of all, unless something's changed, the top of the line for shocks is Rancho competition shocks. Now, something you're going to want to do if you really want to push the limits is replace the standard bushings with polyurethane bushings. And you can't do that unless you've got a special pump. You've already done that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to look at front and rear sway bars. If they're both available, you want to get both. And then, of course, tires. And you're going to want Michelin tires out clearly and obviously Michelin tires, regardless of which ones you get. But I would not recommend getting the speed-rated tires. They're a nightmare. The least little bit of ice or snow, and what you do, Leon, is lock the car up, put the key in your pocket, and walk away from it. You're not going anywhere if you got speed-rated tires and there's any kind of ice on the pavement at all.
Yes, right now I currently have the Goodrich KO2s, and I use those because off-road they have 3 times the strength and Kevlar sidewall, so it's 3 times more resistant to punctures and pinching. So I chose that because
if you're going off-road, the Kevlar right. If you're going off-road, the Kevlar sidewalls, as opposed to staying on the street, are a big deal because your sidewalls are really vulnerable.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, it sounds like I'm not educating you very much, but we are educating our listeners, aren't we, Leon?
Yes, sir. Exactly, and that's our goal.
Okay. The call number is 800-313-9443. We'll take your questions, calls, and comments here at Republic Broadcasting. And we'll talk about high-performance vehicles and essential oils and anything else people want to talk about, because between Leon and I, we know a lot of stuff, don't we, Leon?
Yes, sir. Yes, and for the last 4 days, I was out in the desert, out in Utah. I was taking the ZERT class. We were doing gas mask training, and so we were doing it with engaging. So yesterday we had a competition, and we were running through 4 different stages. And that was much more challenging. I should have just dumped my glasses and went to contacts. But, when you're doing a gas mask, trying to dial in at, a distance of 300 yards, it's much more of a challenge than hitting things with the red dot. And I can't imagine people trying to do it with iron sight.
Well, standard eye, I'm not sure you can get a good seal with standard eyeglasses with a gas mask.
No,
because I know the Army issues special lenses that fit inside the gas mask for those who need that kind of assistance in their vision.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's good training, because that's something that almost nobody does, Leon. But
correct.
Getting back to the essential oils, you've been involved with doTERRA now for what, 8 years, 9 years? I lost track.
Yes, sir. 8 and change.
8 and change, and I think you and I first met at an expo about 7 years ago. So the doTERRA oils have changed your life in very positive ways, haven't they?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Yes. So it looks like they all want to keep going, but yes, they have changed my life drastically in the fact that I have been able to now do a lot more training, across the board, and I get to apply these oils. So right now, there's probably going to be guys that are going to get banged up, and they may get cut in the training today, and so I'm going to be using lavender and clove for pain, and then I also take the TCCC, the combat trauma classes as well. So I want to have a huge diversity, but also massive depth of training across the board. So that's what's really good about doTERRA is that, when you have, if you're doing it as a business and once you learn how to see the impact, and I know many people don't have the time to do that, but in my case, it's been such a blessing that I've been able to now expand my training that I never would have had the time, freedom, or flexibility to do had I not stumbled across doTERRA at a proper show.
Right. Well, it's your heads up, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to improve your life, have a healthier life, a more productive life, wean yourself incrementally, and that's very important, incrementally, one at a time, off these harmful, dangerous, expensive pharmaceutical products. doTERRA oils can help you do that. And get started. Send me an email. My email address is thelibertyman@AOL.com. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. And then get yourself a copy of the book, Modern Essentials, 5th edition. If you can find that would be the best. And then don't forget the 9th edition, which just came out in September, just last month. If you need a private consultation, Leon's office number, this is Mountain Time. I would not call him today or tomorrow. I'd wait until Thursday. That office telephone number is 303-495-2188 for a private consultation. And that's very gracious of you to do that, Leon, because I've got feedback from people who've had these private consultations with you, and they really appreciate the help that you give them.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And I truly enjoy helping people, because I realize that the only way our team and our community can improve is by being healthy. And I saw that yesterday. There were some people that were in great shape, and other people that they were all over the board. I can maybe able to shoot well, I can be able to run to 2 miles with the gas mask on.
Right. Well, it's just Americans in general, the sorry state of affairs when it comes to physical fitness and ability to do anything of any physical activity at all. It's just a sad commentary on where we are as a country and as a culture. But the doTERRA oils will help with that as well. There's one, what is it, Slim and Sassy? Is that the one for help people with their weight? Yeah, Slim and Sassy is one.
Right. The metabolic blend that increases the metabolism, increases the energy level, and also, it also helps to eliminates the toxins in the body. So it's fantastic in that regard. I've met people who've lost 63 pounds just using that 6 months straight, and they didn't even exercise. There was a woman on stage. I think I sent you that video in which she lost 63 pounds and 48 inches around her hips, waist, just using the oils nonstop. And she was competing against a guy who worked out every day, and he still lost 2 pounds less than she did. And she's like, I'm a mom. I don't have time for that, to go exercise. I'm busy, 4 kids. And she did phenomenal. And all she did was take 25 drops of this daily, and she looks great and healthy. That's more important. no staples, no surgery going in, cutting in and out.
Right.
So
right.
It's very good to see the impact.
Right. Well, I know several people, and you probably do too. They go through this procedure where they are cut open and a rubber band is put over their part of their stomach to make their stomach smaller. It does work on one hand. On the other, without exception, every man and every woman I've ever seen that went through that procedure, they have this gaunt, unhealthy look about them. Well, has that been your observation?
Yes, sir. I mean, think about it. If you're not getting the nutrition, you're not. I mean, I see people, and when they're extremely obese, it's not because they're not eating food or lots of amounts. What happens is they're having a very toxic diet, and so if you're eating fast food and things out of boxes, and with lots of syllables, yes, you're going to have a much worse. All those toxins are kept in your body, and they are stored in fat cells, and it's called lipidosis. And what happens is it stores the fat to protect your body from these toxins that.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly
the oil. Yes, sir. So the citrus oils actually will eliminate those. If you want to do something, once you get the kit, get grapefruit and put it on grapefruit oil and put it on a styrofoam plate or a cup or bowl, and you'll see how it'll dissolve the plastic, because that's an artificial chemical, petrochemical, and that's how effective the oils are. And it does the same thing in your body. And you're carbon based, just like the oils are. And because of that, it allows you to naturally eliminate all these toxins. And then the next thing you have to do is change your diet. More Americans are likely to change their religion than they are to change their diet.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
which is a sad state of affairs.
It is. My wife, Dr. Moore, found this out very quickly. Her first year of practice, people would do almost anything to not change the food they eat. Here's our break. Call number is 800-313-9443.
Uh-huh.
We are back with on Tuesday, the 10th of October, visiting with Leon Green. Call number is 800-313-9443. Nutrition is something that cannot be overlooked, Leon. If people think they can continue with pizza, beer, and ice cream being the three main food groups, and be healthy using doTERRA essential oils and an energy cleaner, they are sadly mistaken, aren't they, Leon?
Absolutely. You have to make some changes in your overall lifestyle. And we're not talking about massive change, or maybe in some cases, but for the most part, I had an organic diet before, and I didn't eat junk food per se, but I know that's not the average diet. So some people, it may be considered a massive change. But if you decrease your toxins, you increase your energy level, exercise more, whether it's even walking your dog daily, your bones, you'll live longer. Overall, you'll feel much better. And that's right. Those things, by applying the energy cleaner, the oils, and some other modalities and protocols, can help you drastically live longer and have a better quality of life. And that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Whether things hit the fan or not.
Right. Well, these are pretty basic things. Every Friday we talk to Dr. Myers about health and nutrition. And we don't have time right now to get in any depth into nutrition, but it is not optional, is it, Leon?
Absolutely, especially knowing what's coming down the pike. And I mean, think about the people who are in Puerto Rico right now with no electricity. They're having to do everything manually. Everything is now in the manual realm, and because of that, if you don't have the energy level and you don't have the body structure right now because you've gotten flaccid because of just apathy and lethargy, then what happens is you're going to have your quality of life is going to stink. And so we're saying improve your quality of life naturally and do it quickly, or get started on it now and learn about it now while you have the flexibility and time.
We got our last caller. It's going to be real quick. We're almost out of time. Rich in Alabama. Good morning, Rich.
Hi, John. Quick question. There was a gentleman that used to be on the your radio show who passed away back, I think, around March. Was he exposed to some kind of cleaning chemicals or something like that over a period of time? That
I'm not sure which guy you're talking about offhand. What did he talk about?
He was in the Navy, and I think he was exposed to radiation or something like that.
You may be talking about Tim Spencer, but he didn't die. He's still on with me.
Okay, no, I thought there was somebody else. I just remember they were in the military. So I thought it might have been somebody that I had tried to get in contact with RBN a few years ago.
Okay.
His mother said he was exposed to cleaning solvents from the military.
Right.
And
I don't know who that would be offhand. Maybe we can figure that out some other time. Thank you for the call,
okay,
Rich.
Thanks.
Okay. Leon, we're pretty much out of time here. I want to encourage you to be safe and have fun on your training there. Leon. Is Leon gone?
Yes, thank you very much. Have fun.
Okay.
Just about to start my class.
Thank you.
No, I went to
Thank you. Have it back next week. Appreciate it, Leon. That's it for the day. Get your medical supplies, energy, cleaner, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms, ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Please do have a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.